This lesson won't be quite as long as the two previous beginner lessons. Those lessons were unusual because there is an enormous amount of information that must be explained before you can even begin the journey. Now most of that is behind us. The average length of a lesson is typically 10 to 12 minutes, and that's more than enough time to keep you busy for an entire week. I try to give you 4 important exercises in each lesson. I want you to practice for an hour each day and only on those exercises along with some review. And that way you can really get a handle on what I'm trying to teach you. If I gave you 12 exercises, you would barely accomplish any of them within a week. Then as you move forward, you would wonder why everything is so difficult, and eventually progress would come to a halt. So I like each lesson to be attainable within a week. Now, this is not a course that will teach you everything you need to know in a month. Now, hopefully, you're already enjoying the exercises in each of these lessons, and within a month, you're going to have a lot of fun playing some simple songs. About 6 months from now, you'll be a solid intermediate guitarist. Probably a lot better than your friends. And that's a lot of fun, unless they're studying this course too. If so, that's great. Nothing like a little competition to help you move forward. If you don't currently play any open chords, this week will be monumental to your progress. We're going to learn 3 chords that are common in rock guitar and even more common to folk or acoustic music. Now, these are sometimes described as cowboy chords. I assume that's because they're what a cowboy might play around a campfire serenading his cattle. The reason that these chords are called open chords is they include open strings. So the chords don't move up and down the neck like power chords. Exercise 1 and 2 are included in the same piece of tab. Exercise 1 is the verse of the song, and exercise 2 is the chorus. Now, think of the verse as the story of the song, and the chorus as the chorus. Actually, the chorus is often the catchphrase like, "We will rock you," or "Dirty deeds done dirt cheap." This catchphrase is often sung by a chorus of voices, hence the name chorus. So first, we will begin with the verse. Print out the tab and take a look at the song Onward. The verse includes 2 chords, an E minor. The lowercase m indicates minor. The C is a major chord. Majors don't require an additional symbol, and they're not even referred to as major. Just call this one a C chord. Looking at the chord diagram at the top of the page, you'll notice X's on top of the nut, the thick black bar. That indicates that these strings are not to sound. These strings are either not to be played or muted with the picking hand. The O's indicate that an open string is to sound, like in the E minor. The first 3 strings are open. The fingering is listed below the diagram and below the tab. When I play the E minor chord, notice the angle of my fingers. They're kind of hooked toward the fretboard, so the frets are played with the tips of my fingers. That way only the intended strings sound. As I've mentioned earlier in the course, pull your fingertips towards the fretboard like this. There is some squeezing from the thumb, but mostly a slight pull from the back of my arm to clamp the fingers to the fretboard. And clamp is probably too strong a word. It's actually very easy for me to play this chord. It requires almost no strength at all. It's just about technique. Now for the tricky part. changing chords. Beginners typically wait too long to get started with the chord change, and they're almost always late to the second chord. So get started early making the chord change, even if it means cutting off a bit of the E minor. So if the change is like this, which it is in the verse, make sure that you change to the C in time, even if you don't quite get the E minor finished. And notice in particular, as I change from E minor to C, the way the fingers move. Watch this, it goes like that to that, like that to that. It's a simple movement. You don't want to just try to rearrange your fingers as you make the chord change. You want to keep the movement exactly the same every time you do it like that. And it will become very easy to make the chord change. So spend a lot of time trying to do this chord change as quickly as possible. For now, the chord change will not be quick unless you've played these chords before. So spend a couple of days on the chord change before working on exercise 2, the chorus. Soon you should be able to play along with the verse. Here it is with the backing track. Now that you've mastered E minor to C major, the chorus should be easy. You begin with a D major chord. Now it's not referred to as D major, just call it a D chord, just like the C major is referred to as a C chord. Notice the little dance that the fingers perform to move from D to E minor. So it's a consistent movement, and from E minor back to D major. Really look at your fingers and see exactly what's happening when you're making this move. I'm very quickly just taking it and switching to this. Now you're well on your way to mastering a whole series of campfire songs, but that is beyond the scope of this course. Remember, we're heavy metal and hard rock and classic rock. But don't let that stop you. It's all good. Here's the chorus with the backing track. Now for the song arrangement. These symbols mean that the measures between the two cymbals are to be repeated twice. This symbol means that this measure is to be played the first time through. Then the song ends with this measure after the second time through. Here's the complete song, both verse and chorus, for you to play along. Exercise 3 is the third pattern for the pentatonic scale. You've already learned the first two patterns. After this pattern, we only have 2 more to go, and then we'll have all 5 positions memorized. And I can't overemphasize how important these 5 patterns are for improvising lead guitar. So really, you've got to get this stuff down. These patterns will also be covered again in the intermediate section of the course as we build both speed and accuracy. The last exercise in this lesson is a combination of all 3 pentatonic patterns in review. Once again, this is extremely important stuff. Gradually over time, increase the tempo and even keep a record of your progress. Don't play this faster than you're able to play it with accuracy. I would like to take a moment here to talk about goals and this course. My goal for this course is to teach you as quickly as possible to become a competent guitar player. And hopefully you're going to enjoy the process. What do you plan to achieve by studying this course? You may be interested in learning to play guitar as a hobby, or you might even choose to become a professional musician. You need to set your own goal and determine what is necessary to achieve it. The more difficult the goal, the more time you will need to dedicate to the process of achieving it. For example, you can learn to play guitar by studying this course about an hour a day, 5 days a week. But if you want to play on a professional level, you'll need to practice way more than that. So be sure that your goals are in line with your level of commitment. Speaking of commitment, I'm committed to seeing you back here same time next week. See you then.